December 13, 2003. Adar, Iraq. Total darkness blanketed the farmlands along the Tigris River. Colonel James Hickey checked his watch. But tonight was different. The soldiers pulled him from the vehicle. Ibrahim walked slowly toward an abandoned mud hut, his eyes scanning the darkness. Without a word, he kicked at it with the tip of his boot. A white styrofoam lid appeared beneath. When they lifted it, the stench of rot and stale air rushed up from the earth. Weapons snapped up. Grenade pins were pulled, fingers tense on triggers. Two dirty hands rose slowly from the darkness. A man with a long, unkempt beard and wild hair struggled to pull himself up into the harsh beam of the flashlights. The soldiers froze. This broken, disheveled figure looked nothing like the dictator on the posters. Nothing like the man whose face they carried in their pockets for months. I am Saddam Hussein, the president of Iraq, and I am willing to negotiate 9 months earlier to Tigris, Iraq. Inside a cramped, sweltering interrogation room at Tigris Airfield sat Sergeant Eric Maddox, a low-level interrogator who looked nothing like a war hero. He stared at the organizational chart on the wall. All those faces of high-ranking generals, the supposed keys to finding Saddam. Then he stepped forward and tore them down. Day by day, he mapped a new web of connections. He began interrogating the people the U.S. Army had considered worthless. Drivers, cooks, gatekeepers, bodyguards. Red lines formed across his whiteboard, crisscrossing, intersecting, all pointing toward a single route. The al-Musallaf family, Saddam's inner circle. Maddox circled the name in red marker. The target had changed. The real hunt had just begun. Identifying the name was the easy part. Actually catching Muhammad Ibrahim proved to be a nightmare. The fat man was a ghost, appearing nowhere, leaving no trail. Maddox changed tactics once again. If they couldn't find Ibrahim, they would find his family. Under brutal pressure, a strange clue finally emerged. My father likes fishing. He often visits a fish farm in Samarra. The dictator had an obsession with grilled fish, mazgoof, a traditional Iraqi dish. Special forces raided the farm in Samarra. Ibrahim wasn't there. He had slipped through the net once again. But soldiers cornered one of his close relatives. The interrogation was swift, violent, high pressure. He gave up an address, a Baghdad apartment in the busiest part of the city, the last place anyone expected.
Go, move to the wall! Clear left!
Special forces raided the Baghdad apartment. Maddox ran to the courtyard where prisoners sat on the ground, fabric hoods covering their heads. He ripped the hoods off one by one. First face, no. Second face, no. Third face, a heavy-set man with terror in his eyes. The hunt was over. It was the fat man himself. Now only one step remained, finding the ace of spades. The Pentagon had deployed a simple yet ingenious tactic. A deck of cards featuring 52 high-ranking Ba'athist officials, generals, ministers, and politicians. Here history splits into two stories. The official U.S. narrative in Maddox's memoirs described this as a clean victory of psychological warfare, a promise of $25 million and safety for Ibrahim's family, a win-win deal. But looking back at the images of Abu Ghraib, accepting this sanitized version becomes difficult. He looked at the soldiers and said, "I will show you." Baghdad had fallen. Saddam Hussein, once the strong man of the Middle East, was now a homeless fugitive. He knocked on the doors of old friends and tribal allies, but the fear of American retribution proved stronger than any loyalty. One by one, they turned him away. Saddam turned as a last resort to the Namik family, a humble farm belonging to his own tribe near Adar. For 235 days, he lived in a small, simple room within the farm's hut. The spider hole was only for emergencies, a panic room built by his host, Adar. It wasn't a simple pit. It was a vertical bunker, approximately 2 meters deep, with walls reinforced with brick and cement. A single small plastic pipe brought oxygen into the darkness. Whenever American patrols got close, Saddam would grab his Glock pistol, slip into the hole, and wait in complete darkness until they passed. Every day he listened to BBC Arabic radio, wrote poetry, and most importantly, drafted orders to direct the insurgency. His only link to the outside world was Adar, who served as his cook, his barber, his bodyguard, and his courier. Weeks before the capture, Mohammed Ibrahim visited the farm for a meeting. Ibrahim seized the opportunity. He asked Allah, "If the soldiers raid us, where does the boss hide?" Allah, with complete trust in Saddam's top protector, made a fatal mistake. He described the underground hideout in detail. He pointed out its exact location. Operation Red Dawn.
Check your sector! Moving left! Check the structure!
600 soldiers surrounded the perimeter. Delta Force operators stormed the hut, tearing the room apart, checking the walls, sweeping the orange grove. Nothing.
Under here.
The operation teetered on the edge of humiliating failure. The back door of an armored Humvee opened, and Mohammed Ibrahim was pulled out. He walked past the confused soldiers, heading toward a blind spot in the yard near a palm tree. He stopped, looked down, and without a word, kicked a pile of dirt and garbage with his boot. The dirt was swept away. The old rug was pulled back. The white styrofoam lid appeared. The gate to hell. A soldier pulled the pin on a grenade, ready to drop it into the hole. But suddenly a voice came from the depths. "Don't shoot! Don't shoot!" Two dirty hands rose from the darkness. The soldiers grabbed them and hauled the man out like a sack of flour. He blinked in the harsh, flashlight beams. A Glock 18 pistol was tucked in his waist, but he didn't reach for it. Saddam dusted himself off and looked at the soldiers. "I am Saddam Hussein, president of Iraq, and I want to negotiate. President Bush sends his regards." He lunged at Saddam, punching him, screaming at him. U.S. soldiers had to physically pull him off the fallen dictator. Those punches were the symbol of a nation's suppressed rage. Years of terror released in a moment of violence. With the situation under control, Saddam was rushed to a waiting helicopter. The bird lifted off into the night sky. The physical hunt was over. Breaking the myth, PSYOPS teams deliberately released the most humiliating footage possible. Saddam Hussein being examined by an American doctor, his mouth open like an old horse having its teeth checked. A medic searching his hair for lice. Every image was calculated to destroy his aura of power. The message to the world was clear. He is not a monster. He is just human. And he is finished. The next day, Paul Bremer took the podium and delivered the line that would echo around the world. "Ladies and gentlemen, we got him."
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
December 30th, 2006, Baghdad, dawn on the day of Eid al-Adha. The execution chamber did not feel like a state proceeding. It felt like mob revenge. As the noose tightened around his neck, there was no silence, no dignity. Guards shouted sectarian chants, mocking him in his final moments. The trap door opened. The drop. But the result was not peace. Saddam's fall opened the gates to chaos, civil war, and eventually the rise of ISIS. The spider hole wasn't just Saddam's grave. Perhaps it was the grave of a region's stability, buried beneath the same dirt and weeds that had hidden the dictator for 235 days.